Donald Trump is back in the Oval Office, and the consequences are unfolding rapidly for all of us. What we're witnessing isn't just politics as usual. It's a full-blown assault on American democracy. In this video, we'll break down 6 alarming signs that Trump is using his power not to serve the people, but to silence his enemies, purge dissent, and place himself above the law. Subscribe now to Trumpster Fire, where we expose the lies, the dangers, and the dark truths they don't want you to see. Donald J. Trump has returned to power, and he's wasting no time. From jailing political enemies to purging the government of dissent, Trump is laying the groundwork for something America has never seen: a presidency with no brakes. This isn't just politics. This is the beginning of a power grab so bold, it could reshape our democracy forever. Let's start with one of the most alarming developments. Trump isn't just talking about jailing his political opponents. He's already taking steps to do it. Just days into his return, Trump's Justice Department revived investigations into officials from his first impeachment trial. Whistleblowers, prosecutors, even former military leaders who criticized him, suddenly facing legal pressure. Coincidence? Not a chance. And the language? It's straight from the authoritarian playbook. On Truth Social, Trump declared, "We will root out the deep state, prosecute the traitors, and bring real justice." This isn't just about Hunter Biden or Hillary Clinton anymore. This is about anyone who stood in Trump's way. Democracies don't jail their opponents. Dictators do.
As we begin a proud new chapter in the chronicles of American justice, this really is something. We're turning the page on 4 long years of corruption, weaponization, and surrender to violent criminals, and we're restoring fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law.
In a March 2025 speech at the Department of Justice, President Trump targeted journalists, judges, prosecutors, and Biden officials, calling for their prosecution and imprisonment. President Trump took aim at various individuals, labeling them as scum and corrupt, and emphasized the need for accountability. One of the most dangerous levers of presidential power? The military. And Trump is already grabbing it with both hands. He's purging Pentagon leadership, replacing career military officials with loyalists who've publicly vowed to follow Trump first, Constitution second. Let that sink in. That means military units can now be used against American citizens during protests and unrest, without state approval. We're seeing the seeds of a loyalist military force, weaponized for political control. Trump's not just flexing his muscle abroad, he's bringing that force home. And if you think this is just theoretical, think again. Armed forces were deployed outside courthouses during anti-Trump demonstrations in Atlanta and Chicago. Orders that came from the top. This isn't restoring order, it's establishing dominance. From inside the White House, Trump is slowly transforming the world's most powerful military into a tool of personal power.
We're back with more DoD reforms. This one is General and Flag Officer Reductions. That's the official title. My title is Less Generals, More GIs. It's a historic one, and it's in keeping with President Trump's commitment to achieving peace through strength. We're going to shift resources from bloated headquarters elements to our warfighters. Let's take a bit of a trip down memory lane. In history, when we were fighting across the globe during World War II, we had a force that was 12 million strong. For that 12 million man element, we had 17 4- and 5-star generals.
If Trump can't control the system, he'll burn it down and rebuild it in his own image. Since returning to office, Trump has launched an unprecedented purge of the federal government, gutting key agencies, sidelining career officials, and replacing them with hardline loyalists whose only qualification is fealty to Trump. Dozens of senior civil servants have been forced out of the Department of Justice, the Environmental Protection Agency, the IRS, and even the CDC. Why? Because they refused to politicize their work. Or worse, they told the truth. In their place, Trump is installing what some insiders are calling a shadow cabinet. Partisan appointees with little experience but extreme loyalty. These aren't public servants, they're enforcers. Whistleblowers say new hires are being told to follow directives, not data. A chilling phrase in a government that's supposed to serve the people, not one man. This is how autocracies are born, not with tanks in the streets, but with quiet firings and loyalty tests behind closed doors. In Trump's America, even the highest court in the land is just a speed bump. Since reclaiming the presidency, Donald Trump has repeatedly dismissed or outright ignored rulings from the Supreme Court. Yes, even from the conservative majority he helped install. In one stunning instance, after the court blocked his executive order targeting protesters and journalists, Trump instructed federal agents to continue enforcement until further notice. When challenged, his press secretary said, quote, "The president interprets the law his way." This isn't a misunderstanding of the Constitution, it's contempt for it. Legal scholars from both sides of the aisle have sounded the alarm. When the president treats the judiciary like a nuance rather than a pillar of democracy, we are no longer talking about conservative versus liberal. We're talking about democracy versus authoritarianism. What happens when a president believes the law doesn't apply to him? History answers that with a single word: dictatorship.
Elected to get him the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it. No, I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said. What you said is not what I heard the Supreme Court said. They have a different interpretation.
The Constitution isn't just a piece of paper. It's the foundation of our democracy. But under Trump 2.0, it's become optional. Since retaking office, President Trump has openly suggested revisiting core constitutional principles. He's floated the idea of limiting freedom of the press, questioned the necessity of checks and balances, and most disturbingly, publicly entertained suspending parts of the Constitution if they get in the way of justice. When asked by a reporter if he would uphold the Constitution in all cases, Trump replied, "I'll uphold what's fair. The Constitution doesn't always get it right." This isn't political theater. It's a flashing red warning sign. From ignoring court orders to undermining the First Amendment, the Trump administration is eroding the very structure that holds this country together. And the worst part? Millions are cheering him on, while the Constitution burns behind them. Alcatraz, a name once synonymous with isolation, punishment, and hopelessness. A relic of a harsher era, until now. In a stunning move, President Trump has ordered the reopening of Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary, specifically to house what he calls America's most ruthless and violent offenders. But critics say this is more than just tough-on-crime optics. It's a propaganda stunt designed to strike fear into political enemies and dissenters. Reports have surfaced that the administration may fast-track prisoners under national threat status, a vaguely defined label that could include protesters, whistleblowers, or anyone labeled as disloyal. Human rights groups are already sounding the alarm, warning that this isn't just about law and order, it's about power and intimidation. Bringing back Alcatraz isn't justice, it's spectacle. And in Trump's America, fear is the new policy.
How did you decide to reopen Alcatraz? How did you come up with the idea?
Well, I guess I was supposed to be a movie maker. We started with the movie making, and we'll end. I mean, it represents something very strong, very powerful in terms of law and order. Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate, right? Alcatraz, Sing Sing and Alcatraz, the movies. But it's right now a museum, believe it or not. A lot of people go there. It housed the most violent criminals in the world, and nobody ever escaped. One person almost got there.
This isn't just another political cycle. This is a stress test for democracy. If you believe in truth, accountability, and the power of the people, don't stay silent. Subscribe to Trumpster Fire for more hard-hitting investigations, viral clips, and the brutal honesty no one else will give you. Like, share, and let them know we're watching.